Greetings from Zax of TwilightSucks.com. I'd like to take a moment away from abridging to explain something that I've been attempting to get across for some time. Many of you already know this and are listening for better means to explain this concept, while others of you will undoubtedly question what it is that I have to say. By all means, fact-check my words. Dictionaries are freely available for access online, and I encourage you to make use of them. In fact, I shall be using the definitions found on dictionary.com for this video, so you might as well read along with me. Remember, think. It's not illegal yet. Now, what is the matter that I wish to explain? That the Twilight series is not a saga. At this point, those of you who want to argue will be thinking something along the lines of, "But it says it is on the cover!" For you, I would simply pose two simple questions. First, haven't you heard the phrase, "Never judge a book by its cover"? If you haven't, you now have. And now that I know that you have, you should know that this phrase is not just a concept to apply to persons, but to apply quite literally to books. In the case of Twilight, this should be applied doubly so, as what is said on the outside does not match what is within. Secondly, haven't you learned of the concept known as false advertisement? Generally frowned upon, this concept is what occurs when a person or group will make a product sound much better than it is in order to garner attention for said product, usually for the purpose of gaining more income from it. In the case of the Twilight series, Little Brown Books, or whomever it was that selected the term saga, did so in order to make Twilight sound much more elaborate than it is. The problem arises that the term has nothing whatsoever to do with being elaborate, as I shall detail shortly. The one thing you need to know is that Twilight is not a saga, and that anyone who says differently is lying. And now, without further hesitation, here is why Twilight is not a saga. Saga. Definition 1. A medieval Icelandic or Norse prose narrative of achievements and events in the history of a personage, family, etc. Quite obviously, Twilight is not a medieval Icelandic or Norse prose narrative, so this definition of saga is obviously not applicable to the series. Saga. Definition 2. Any narrative or legend of heroic exploits. While Twilight is a narrative, and obviously not a legend, it does not tell of heroic exploits. Some of you might attempt to argue this, but do not bother. Twilight tells of Bella's experience, and she is obviously not a hero. Saga. Definition 3. Also called saga novel. A form of the novel in which the members or generations of a family or social group are chronicled in a long and leisurely narrative. Oh noes! It seems there might be a loophole! Guess again. Twilight might be considered a novel. However, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn are separate novels. However, this point is minuscule in comparison with the rest of the definition. Remember that it is told from the perspective of Bella, starting when she was 17 and ending before she turned 19. Bella also did not become an actual part of the Cullen family or social group until Breaking Dawn. Therefore, the series is not about the members or generations of said family or social group. To further drive into your head that this meaning does not apply, I shall also counter any of you who try to say that the series does tell of the history of the members of the Cullen family. This is a moot point, because as the story is told from the perspective of Bella, beginning with her move to Forks, the story itself is of her experiences. Also, for the relaying of the Cullen history to qualify, the series should have began earlier on and served as a record of said history, rather than simply containing their history within an info dump. Serving as a history of the record is exactly what the term chronicling means. Since it does not do this, it does not chronicle anything, and thus definition 3 is negative. And there you have it, the explanation of why Twilight is not a saga. At this point, there may be some of you who will try to make the argument, but it is more than 3 books! It's not a trilogy! To you I say, and? No definition of saga indicates any number of volumes that need to be had in order to qualify. Thus, number of books does nothing for your argument. As it is more than 3 books, it is simply a series. Not special enough for you? Too bad. Trashlit shouldn't be made to seem special. This has been brought to you by the good people at TwilightSucks.com. Twilight sucks because its publisher has to lie to the general public to make it actually seem interesting.